Hey guys, how's it going? Mark Gorman here. Hey, and welcome. Today what I'm going to talk about is how this all began for me. A few years back, actually now, my daughter right now, she's 2.5 years old. And what I figured out actually, what I want to talk to you about is the situation that a lot of us, parents, single parents, even regular parents, the rut that we land up getting ourselves into, and that is that, and I figured this out over time. I used to be an extremely healthy, fit. I'm not saying I'm not healthy, but I used to be extremely active. I used to be every day after work, I'd go out and I'd do certain things. I'd do some sports or whatever, go to the gym and keep a regular, fit, healthy lifestyle. I was in good shape. And once my first child came along, and my only child, my daughter, I ended up becoming almost a couch potato. There was always an excuse, and we all do this. And it was, for me, it was like I was sitting on the couch and I'd come home and I wanted to spend some time with my daughter because during that time frame when they're 1 or 2 years old, they start, or even younger, they go through their naps. So you want to try and squeeze in your quality time with them. So you just sit around and you don't do very much. Well, how it all started for me was actually one day. She had a bad stomach a virus or whatever, and I was constantly running up and down, having to change diapers. It was funny that day. I'd run upstairs and change the diaper, 5, 6 times. Well, the next day, my quads and my hamstrings were killing me, and I couldn't understand why. But then I figured it out what it was. It was carrying her up and down all the time, and it got me thinking. So. A few days later, we were playing on the mat on the floor, and basically I was lying on my back, and I started pressing her up and down. And the next day, or 2 days later, my chest felt kind of tight, and that's when it all started for me, realizing that my child was actually a weight, an added advantage to utilize. So what I started doing is creating a system that how I could utilize the time spent with her and convert that into quality time and exercise for myself without me having to feel guilty and make the lame excuses of having to go to gym or have to go outside and do this on my own and break away from her. I realized I needed to bring her into that part of my new life. So what I did is I put down a system and I started putting it into place. And over a period of time, I'd say 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, I had already seen physical changes in my body. Now that was great for me, but what I also figured out over that time frame is that my daughter started wanting to be with me more, and she started enjoying it. She started demanding more of my time, demanding more of me doing those things with her because it was a gain to her. So that was great. So it kind of motivated me and it made me have to do it more and more and more. And as a child gets bigger, they get heavier, so your resistance and the weight gets heavier, so your strength increases and you get used to it. Now I'm an individual with very bad and severe lower back problems and spinal injuries, so I had to be very careful. So I managed to figure out ways of doing it to strengthen my back, my abdominal muscles at the same time. But all said and done, it's all good and well doing exercise, but there's also a dietary aspect to it on nutrition. Now, like many of you out there, you all know, and I know this as well, we don't want to put junk in our child. We don't want to give them tons of sugar and that. And, at the same time, those are the things that aren't good for us either. So, at the same time, what I realized is that every time I was eating, my daughter wanted to eat what I ate. And I wasn't going to give it to her because it wasn't good for her. So why would you want to give your child something that that's kind of being hypocritical? So what I started doing is making food for both of us that was healthy for her and healthy for myself. And for example, instead of giving her juices, which are high in sugars and that, and also there's other preservatives in there, I would just convert it and just drink water. And she started requesting water, so that was great. So it made me drink more water and made her drink more water. Eating vegetables, she started loving vegetables, vice versa, and fruit. Well, on top of that, So now I'd already accomplished two things, and third, what I ended up doing is starting to try and make it into an educational, fun, nutritional game. So everything that I was doing through exercise or through eating healthy, I ended up making it a game, whether it be numerical or alphabetical. So for everything that we did, I would make it a game. And for example, I would put down 10 pieces of broccoli, and those 10 pieces for each time, you'd have to count them out and learn. So what I figured out is they are visual sponges. They basically do whatever they see, and if they see it enough, they're like a parrot. If it's repeated enough times, that's great. Now, like many of you know, that when they're young, they start learning to sing the ABCs, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's a rhythm, but they only know it as a song. They don't know the visual, and they don't know what. So if you ask your child what comes after B, I promise you, a large percentage of you out there are not, your child will not, I'm talking at a young age of 1 to 2 possibly, and some are very gifted, but on average, the child will not know the letter that comes after B. Because if you just say B, they ain't going to remember what the next letter is. They only know if you start from A and running through. So what I started doing is doing flashcards and making it a game that we'd have to run out and go play. And this will be in the further on in this book. You're going to see some examples of what I do with my child. Now, what I've learned over the time by teaching her this, it's a game for her. She gets to see the letters, and she can visually know. So when I hold up a letter, she knows what that letter is, and she knows pretty much, she's starting to learn, she's not quite there yet, but she's starting to learn where they go in place. So when I ask her what comes after the letter C, she knows, or she remembers, and visually will grab D and say D, which is progression over time. So these are some of the things that I'm going to discuss, and we are going to put into this book for you to actually get to understand and see some of the amazing things that actually your child has, and the fun that you're going to get. You're going to get to bond with your child better. It's exciting for me for when I get home to have a game for her. Right now, it's actually amazing because I have a speed stroller and I go for a run maybe 3-4 times a week when I have the time. But when my daughter gets out of the car, she jumps in the stroller right away and she wants to go run. And it's like, it's not that I don't want to say no, it's a signal to tell her I have to run. So I burn calories. At the same time, while I'm running, she is at the same time, she's now counting for me because she knows I've turned it into a game. So she's doing her alphabet, she's doing her numbers, etc. She's also getting stimulation through interaction with me and having a good time with Dad. It can also be mom, so this is not purely just for dads or single parents. This can be for anybody. It's a great tool. It does work. It's not a proven system. It's just another system that actually I found that's very simple. The other thing a lot of us are out there doing are we are on a tight budget right now, and you know it's hard for some of us to spend the time to run to the gym and pay a gym membership. These are free tools. There's no need to go buy no fancy equipment, no dumbbells or anything. It's just the interaction with your child, and you're going to accomplish 3 great miracle things that actually we all can do, and you can do it as well. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So we will continue this video, and we're going to continue some of the other stuff. I just wanted to do the first intro, and but that's enough information for this one. So I'll do the next one after this series. Alright? Okay, see you now.